to the Big Bear Homestead. We're back today with another episode of Kitchen Time, and today we're going to make Tagalong cookies. Okay, so today on Kitchen Time we're going to make Tagalong cookies, like the Girl Scout cookies. Anyway, who doesn't like Tagalongs? I mean, it's peanut butter and chocolate. I mean, most people love that, and especially here at our homestead, everybody loves chocolate and peanut butter. I'm really not sure why we didn't do this one first. Yeah, I do, because Samoas are my favorite, and I'm in control of which ones we're going to do, so that's why we did this first. But anyway, now we've made it around. We did the Samoas, we did the Thin Mints, so now it's time for Tagalong cookies. So join me today as we figure out how to make these and what's the best way. Okay, so let's talk ingredients. Now, one thing I really like about this recipe is that the ingredients are just about everything that you already have lying around in your pantry. And I bet that if you've done my Samoa recipes and my Thin Mint recipes, you probably already have the dipping chocolate tucked away in the side of the pantry, right? I mean, we all have to prep. So anyway, let's talk about ingredients. The very first thing you're going to need is 2 cups of flour. You'll need 1 cup of butter. Now, this is 2 sticks of butter. Make sure that you go ahead, if you're getting ready to make these cookies, go ahead and pull this out first and let it soften, because it's very important to the recipe when you're making the cookies. You're also going to need a 1/2 cup of sugar. You'll need 2 tablespoons of milk, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Just kidding. You'll need 1 1/2 cups of peanut butter, 3/4 cup of powdered sugar, and last but not least, 8 ounces of dipping chocolate. Okay, so let's get started with our recipe. The first thing it says for us to do is you're going to need a cookie sheet, and you're going to want to line your cookie sheet with parchment paper. Now, you know how I feel about parchment paper. Best thing since sliced white bread, right? So go ahead and line your cookie sheet with parchment paper. Okay? Now, the next thing that it says for us to do is to preheat your oven to 350. Now, I'm going to deviate a little bit from the recipe, because it wouldn't be kitchen time with me if we didn't deviate, right? We're going to do something a little bit different, because I don't have a little bitty cookie cutter, and the biggest thing I have would be something to cut biscuits with, and that's a little too big for these cookies. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the method that we did for the Thin Mints. We're going to roll it into a tube and let it sit in the freezer for just a little bit to where it solidifies a little, and then we'll cut them into cookie sizes before we bake them. So we're going to hold off on the oven preheating for just a minute. Alright, so the next thing it says for us to do is to cream the butter and the sugar together. So you're going to go ahead and we're going to put the butter into our standing mixer. Up, and we'll add the sugar gradually in there. Okay. Let's put the butter in first. Don't forget to lift your bowl, right? Well, gotta lock it in first. Alright. Move your bowl up. Now, if your butter is nice and soft, this won't take long. Okay, so you cream up your butter and then add your sugar. Okay, and we're going to let this cream up and we'll be right back. Okay, so once you've got your butter and sugar creamed, we're going to go ahead and add in the flour and the salt. Now, it says to gradually add this, so I'm going to tell you, I'm a firm believer in gradually. So let's go ahead and do the salt first. Now here comes the fun part, the flour. Now remember what I've told you before, you don't want your bowl speed high, because if you do that, you're just going to have a big, huge flour cloud, and we really don't want that. As great as that would be for all of our little outtakes and stuff, I really don't want to wear flour today. So, very gradually, you're going to add in your flour. And you'll start to see this form to where it's going to look like a shortbread. Now, then it says to add the vanilla and the milk. So again, don't have a lot of vanilla. You can go ahead and add that in first. Okay, and then we'll add in the milk. Okay, now it says to keep mixing it until it gets very well blended. So we're going to go ahead and wait for that to blend up, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so we're not going to deviate from the recipe. Bad Robin, don't do that. I still haven't learned after 40 years. Anyway, so, okay, so basically my wonderful idea of rolling everything out, no, you can't have any. My basic idea of rolling everything out like we did the Thin Mints is not going to work. The dough doesn't get hard enough for you to be able to roll it out. And you didn't see me struggle with trying to roll it because we cut that. It might be on the outtakes at the end, but probably not. So instead of doing that, I magically made a cookie cutter appear. I was overdue for these. I've been making biscuits with wine glasses for the longest time, so thank you guys for inspiring me to go get biscuit cutters. Anyway, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do this the right way. We're going to roll the dough out. I'm going to lightly flour the area I work in, and I'm also going to lightly flour my rolling pin because we don't want anything to stick. Not like we had that happen in another take somewhere. Anyway, let's try this. Fingers crossed. Okay, lightly flour. And if you don't have granite, I'm telling you, this is the best work surface I've ever had. Okay. Let's take this and ploppy plop. Okay, let's see. And if you feel better just using your hands, you can most definitely do that. But I think what happens if you use your hands is the warmth from your hands actually makes the dough more sticky, starts to melt the dough out. So as you can see, if you just roll your dough out, and it says 1/4 of an inch, you need it to be 1/4 of an inch thick. A little bit more on there. This dough definitely gets sticky quick, so there were some recipes that I saw that recommended putting the dough in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes before you work it. I think that's a good idea. We had ours in for a little bit longer than that while I went to go get the cookie cutters, and it definitely made it more manageable. The only thing though is you have to work quick, because the more that things start to warm up, the more it melts. So you don't want that to be an issue. So I'm going to get us to about 1/4 of an inch. And then we'll cut these cookies out. And we'll get it going. for the cookies, I'm not a mathematician and I don't have a ruler, but I'm thinking this is about 2 inches. The next size up looks too big, and the size below it looks too small. So basically go ahead and cut your cookies out. And I can already tell you, looking at the amount of dough that we have, that this recipe is just enough to make somebody mad if you have a family of 5. So my recommendation, I would probably double, or according to my son, quadruple the recipe. He's the Reese's cookie or Reese's peanut butter fan of the house, so I have a feeling these cookies aren't going to last long. But anyway, you're just going to go through and cut all your cookies out, and then we'll put them on the baking sheet and we'll be ready for our next step. Okay, so now we're done rolling out our dough and using our cookie cutters. In all honesty, guys, I don't know if the recipe just needs a little bit more tweaking or if it was warm here in the house, but this dough is very sticky. We got to a point, it was so frustrating rolling it out and cutting the cookies that we started rolling cookies and flatten them up, made circles, and that's what we're going to work with. So, they're not perfect, but they're ours. They're Big Bear cookies. So, we're going to put these in the oven, 350, for 12 to 15 minutes. My oven tends to be closer to the 12 side. Some people it's going to be closer to the 15. What you want to look for is lightly brown. That's what they say. So lightly brown. These are shortbread cookies. So that's what you're looking for. So let's go ahead and put these in the oven. Okay, cookies are out of the oven. Leave them on the cookie sheets for 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, so I've set my timer. We're going to wait on that. So if you hear the beeping, that's what that's for. And then we're going to take them out and put them on a cooling rack and let them completely cool while we're mixing up the peanut butter mixture. Okay, so for your peanut butter, you're going to need the full, it's 1.5 cups of peanut butter. So go ahead and put that in a bowl. Okay. And then you're also going to put in your powdered sugar. So now if you've ever made Buckeyes or chocolate covered peanut butter balls, this is pretty much the exact same recipe for that. And all you're going to do is just mix this together. And the powdered sugar is 3/4 cup. So we're just going to mix that together really good until we have a solid mixture. And then when the cookies are ready, like right now, we're going to move those over to the cooling rack and let them sit for a little while, and then we're going to put the peanut butter on top of each cookie to get it ready to dip. So we'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so the cookies have finished cooling. We've mixed our mixture together pretty well. So now we're going to take the peanut butter and put it on the tops of each cookie, and then we're going to put them in the refrigerator and let them sit for about 15 minutes. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Looks like maybe about a teaspoon worth. Looks about right. Just kind of spread that on there. That's what I'm thinking, about a teaspoon. And of course, when I say teaspoon, I mean like your teaspoons that you get from your set, not from measuring spoon. Now these cookies are definitely not for people who don't like getting dirty. I'll tell tell you between the dough and the peanut butter mixture, and I am sure the chocolate as well, this is a very messy recipe. Some of these smaller cookies, you might need to cut down the peanut butter just a little bit. But again, I go back to who doesn't like chocolate and peanut butter? And I can't answer that with anybody's name in our household because everybody likes peanut butter and chocolate here. Even the dog, we got to keep the chocolate away from Apollo. So, alright, well I'm going to go ahead and get these done and then I'll show you what they look like in just a minute before we put them into the freezer. Okay, we've put the peanut butter onto the cookies. This is what they look like. Now we shoved them all onto one cookie sheet because I've got limited space in the freezer. So what you're going to do is go ahead and take these, we're going to put them in the freezer, and then we're going to set the timer for about 10 to 15 minutes. And while we're doing that, or waiting on that to cool, we're going to go ahead and get our water started on our double boiler and get the chocolate melted. Okay, it's been about 12 to 15 minutes. We've had the cookies in the freezer. So now it's time to start dipping them. Now, if you have not used a double boiler before and you don't know how to melt dipping chocolate, I cover that pretty extensively in my Skinny Minties, which is a thin mince recipe. We'll put the link, or not really the link, we'll actually put the video at the end of the screen annotations. You'll see it, you'll be able to click on it and watch it. It's pretty clear about how to do it. So we've gone ahead and put our chocolate into the pot. We've got it melted. And basically you're going to use the same technique. You want a fork. You're going to pick up your cookie and we're going to put it down in there. Dip it in. Flip it over. Okay. And then when you're done coating it, you're going to shake off the excess chocolate, just like that, and then put it onto a new liner of parchment paper, and you're going to let those set, okay? Now, we learned with the Thin Mints that overnight was best. The longer they sit, the more they cure. So basically all you're going to do, and the reason why they have you put these in the freezer is so that when you put them in that hot chocolate and you flip them over, that the peanut butter doesn't completely melt into the mixture. Okay? We'll do one more so you can see this again up close. And then I'll finish the rest of these. We'll come back and I'll show you what they look like once they've set. See you in a moment. Okay guys, the moment we've all been waiting for. The chocolate has set and they're ready to eat. I'm so excited. Alright, let's see. Okay, so obviously they don't look as pretty as the ones that you buy at that Girl Scout cookie table and stuff. But they're bigger. And I definitely like that because those little bitty cookies that they have that fit in those little sleeves, that's for the birds. Alright, so here we go. Okay, this is what I'm going to tell you. Don't waste your money on the box. Make your own. They are fantastic. Instead of the crumbly peanut butter mixture that you get inside the box cookies. This is nice and smooth. The chocolate's still really tasty. The shortbread is perfect. So what if they're a little bit bigger? They taste fantastic. So get yourself all the ingredients and make yourself some, because I know we'll be doing this one again probably in the morning. Thank you for coming by, cooking with me, learning not to tweak recipes when you're baking. It's only when you're cooking. Gotta remember that. Anyway, if you're new to us and you enjoyed this video and all the fun we've had here in the kitchen, go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up and comment. If you have any suggestions, guys, if you've seen anything that I did wrong or that you think might help this recipe along, go ahead and put it in the comment section below. And like always, have a nice day.